Motivated business owner, welcome to the Small Business Big Marketing Spotlight. I'm your host, Timbo Reid, and today's Bright Spark exhibits a refined understanding of global life and business. Chad Allen is the owner of Convenit Consulting, and with clients based in the Middle East and Africa, Chad specialises in tailoring bespoke financial strategies that help businesses thrive in existing and new markets. Today, we'll be flicking the switch on why Chad started his own consulting business, what impact his experience living and working in Africa, Europe and the US, plus travelling to over 70 plus countries, has had on his approach to business, why an effective financial strategy requires a deep understanding of local market conditions, and there'll be plenty more business insights along the way. Chad, welcome to the Spotlight.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks for having me.
Now, I'm fascinated. You've lived and worked in Africa, Europe, the US. You've been to over 70 countries. How has such extensive exposure to the world impacted your approach to business?
Yeah, so having lived and worked in very diverse places, you come to realize quite rapidly that business strategies and approaches that are often effective in the home country where businesses are coming from, but coming to new host countries, oftentimes within emerging markets. And you're finding that business strategies and approaches that are being deployed in these new host cultures often fall short. And I'm drawing from real life experiences, and I understand that significant time, money, and frustration can be saved by recognizing that home country strategies may not translate successfully to an organization's host country. Therefore, I work with businesses to develop customized strategies that are needed to be successful in the host countries where they're operating.
It's not a financial analogy, Chad, but humour me here. It reminds me when Pepsi many decades ago launched into China with the tagline, Pepsi, what was it? Pepsi, no, it might have been Coke or Pepsi. Coke adds life. And it translated in Mandarin to Coke will bring your ancestors back from the dead. So you've really got to look at what's going on in the country in which you're hoping to do business in order to develop the right financial strategy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's an area we'll go into a little bit further, I think, in the podcast. But definitely one of the areas you have to look at is culture and language, right? And so that Pepsi example highlights that fantastically.
And your travel experience. Your extensive travel experience highlights that so well, Chad, because you have been to 70 plus cultures and you've seen how things are done differently. So if Mr. America or Mrs. France or whoever walks boldly into another country thinking, I'm going to do it my way, well, good luck with that without the help of a consultant.
Yeah, absolutely. And, oftentimes like doing business in say for example in the US, I say we have the convenience of precision. And what I mean by the convenience of precision is that we have the ability to go get so precise and finite in regards to different details or aspects of a business. So for many years I was in the private equity space, and we may spend lots of time coming to a very specific number. But oftentimes in these emerging markets or host countries, you don't have that, what I call the convenience of precision. You may be battling with the fact that electricity is not on today, or power, water is not working. And so a lot of those energies that could be utilized on very, very minute and specific tasks really have to be spread out among competing priorities. And so a lot of times those different things can just really shock and surprise these companies.
I imagine having someone like you, Chad, would be such an upside and relieve so much anxiety knowing that, look, someone's holding my hand as we walk through this very, very strange land.
That's right. Yeah. So, that is part of our DNA and what we're helping countries do. Oftentimes, and this kind of goes to our next area in regards to when companies move into these host countries, they wish to maximize the potential that's there. But there's pervasive challenges that are out there, and these challenges often stem from the underdevelopment or inadequate institutional frameworks that appear in all countries across the world. And these frameworks or domains really fall into 5 different categories. There's the political, there's the legal, there's the economic, there's the social, and then there's also the labor factor. And so, for example, the social, we talked about that just a moment ago with the language aspect, right? So, yes, there are these different areas that I've been through it so many times that as I help companies navigate, we can help them save time, money, and lots of frustration because we've charted those waters before. We know what's coming, and we help them navigate all those different nuances that come into a successful international business strategy.
And Chad, what price do you put to frustration? I mean, seriously, if you can alleviate that, then things become so much easier. I just want to rewind ever so slightly, Chad. I'm very interested. There's no shortage of consulting firms in the world. You have a specific one, financial consulting, and quite bespoke. What gap did you see in the market or problem that you thought, you know what, I have to fill it?
Right. I think I bring the deep expertise of a top tier global consulting firm, but with the personalized touch and affordability of a boutique advisor. And so I think that's where our niche is. And then specifically within the financial strategy component is really where our expertise is core, right? And so that's our particular spot within the market, is just a deep expertise of top tier global firms, but with an affordability and a personalized touch of a boutique advisor, particularly within the finance specialization. Now, also let me say in regards to that, routinely as a part of our engagements, the financial operations of an organization touch on so many different areas. And so routinely as a part of that, we're asked by organizations to get involved with various supplemental areas to assist. And so I'm happy to, I think we'll go into those in a little bit. But
I'd love to explore those.
Yeah.
I don't think we've finished on the bespoke financial strategies just yet. If you're finding this chat with Chad Allen, the owner of Convenit Consulting, illuminating, then do subscribe to the Small Business Big Marketing Spotlight on your favourite podcast app. Chad, you create and implement bespoke financial strategies that help business thrive. Do you have a real life case study or example of a client where they've come in with a particular problem? This is what you've suggested and this is the outcome?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm currently working with a US-based organization that has a subsidiary operation in the Middle East. And I was engaged by this organization to help them develop a customized financial strategy and financial operations for its overseas operation in the Middle East. And so that touches on a whole host of different areas. And we started off by helping them understand what's their overall financial strategy. Where do they want to be in a 1 or 3 or 5 year time frame? And then we get very involved with them in all the different operational nuances that come with operationalizing that location in the Middle East. And so that can stem from cash flow and treasury management all the different cross-border transaction aspects that come up with that. We help them also with banking. We've also helped them in regards to finding the right software, the right ERP, and helping them establish that. But also down to the very minute details of the establishment of internal processes, procedures, and controls in a contextualized manner, so that it's relevant to that specific environment. And so as I mentioned, routinely as a part of our engagements, as we're helping with these financial components, we oftentimes get involved in other aspects of the organization and helping them. So as we talked about, we're familiar with the things that you've got to watch out for that can cost you time, money, and frustration. And so as a part of that, we're often getting involved with the legal aspects. And so while we're not a legal firm, inevitably there comes a legal aspect of that. What's the right legal structure, or how do we handle a particular matter that our experience is going to say will come up or needs to be considered. And so we're not a legal firm, but we have extensive contacts and a network of folks and legal firms that we lean upon on the international side, but we will also help the client work with local legal counsel. And so we will help them engage that and walk beside them in figuring out all those different legal structures. Another area that we touch on with clients often is just the taxation perspective, both the international and local. And again, we're not a tax firm, but again, we'll engage with them, bring the right firms to the table, and help really facilitate that so that they have success. It can also be risk management and cash flow, different HR considerations. There's just a whole host of different things, business that come up specifically with this client that will go beyond the boundaries of just the financial areas.
Chad, it sounds to me like using a bespoke consultant like yourself and Convenit Consulting, you are essentially putting together the A team that is most relevant to that client's problems, because not one size fits all. And with your corporate experience and now your on the ground, I'm the business owner experience, I'm sure your network is very strong, and you can and your travel experience, you can very quickly identify, okay, we need you, and here's why. And the client, I don't know, it just, to me, that must give the client a deep level of confidence.
Yeah, just I'll give you an example. A couple of weeks ago, we had a financial institution approach us and say, hey, we're raising capital in France, England, Brazil, Canada, and the US. We need your help figuring out all the licensing, regulatory, legal licensing across all these territories. And so we knew just the right firm with offices in all of those locations, existing relationships, that we could put that together for them, and give them an estimated cost in all those territories, right, to do what they wanted to do. So yeah, exactly, right on.
Chad, there are business owners listening to this who are currently thinking, or may in the future need to think, or previously have tried to break into overseas markets. They found many aspects difficult, in particular the financial aspect. What do you say? What's the starting point? Do you reach out for a 1 hour consult with someone like Convenit Consulting? Is there a book? Where do you start? It just feels so complicated.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, if you wanted to start with us, we have a website. So it's www.convenitconsultants, CONVENIT consultants.com. And when you visit our website, you'll see that there's a schedule a consultation button. And so
Nice.
if you schedule a consultation button, a calendar will pop up and you'll be able to choose a time that's most convenient, and then you'll receive a calendar invite with Zoom link, and we'll get
no
started.
obligation, Chad?
No obligation. Yeah, it's a free consultation. And so then from there, we'll meet with you, hear what your needs are, and then come back with a proposal in regards to how we can assist you accomplish your international goals.
It's just one of those areas you don't know what you don't know, and there'd be a lot. The average, it's interesting. I mean, I've interviewed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of successful business owners, Chad, and so often they go into business because they're passionate about chiropractic, or they're passionate about accounting, or whatever it is. It doesn't mean they're good at all the other stuff, you know, and that's where people like you come in, you know.
Exactly.
What's the best country you've ever traveled to, Chad?
I have got to say New Zealand. It's my favorite.
Beautiful.
The South Island, Queenstown, and then Milford Sound is phenomenal.
Do you know, the amazing thing about New Zealand, and coming from Australia where we have all sorts of deadly creatures, there are none in New Zealand. Not one. There are no venomous spiders. There are no venomous snakes. There's nothing.
Exactly.
It's safe. Convenit Consultants, what's the future look like?
Yeah, so we are 6 months in. So I'm 6 months into starting my consulting firm, and I'm happy to say that I have a few articles that are being published either this week or next week that'll come out more. They'll give listeners more detail in regards to some of the areas and some of the ways that I engage with businesses, and really just getting out there and spreading the word about our unique approach to business consulting. And so, yeah, I have a client in the Middle East and one in Africa, and so just continuing to build out that portfolio of clients. So
fantastic, Chad. Well, I would encourage anyone who's looking, any business owner who's looking to head overseas, that they hit Chad up for one of those discovery calls at convenitconsultants.com. Certainly, if you want to save time, save money, and alleviate all frustrations when going overseas with your business, it would be a very good idea. Chad, I wish you huge success going into the future with Convenit Consultants.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you for having me.
And to you, the motivated business owner, thank you so much for tuning in. If you feel a little bit brighter, thanks to this episode and Chad's insights of the Small Business Big Marketing Spotlight, then you'll find more conversations with successful entrepreneurs over at smallbusinessbigmarketing.com or on your favourite podcast app. Until next time, may you and your business shine.